Your love will not change a master manipulator. If you are dealing with a person that is narcissistic, that has a history of malevolent behavior or toxic traits, by you loving them and giving them compassion, giving them empathy, it will not make things better. In fact, it may make things worse. Hey, what's up? It's Renee Mija. Welcome to Edge of Illumination. We're going to talk about some pretty serious topics today. The first one I want to talk about is readdressing a little subpoint that I had in my last video where I was talking about people that were master manipulators that some people may have encountered. One of the things that I have observed empaths do, which can be very risky, especially if they have overcome a difficult childhood, is the tendency to not only project the goodwill onto other people who may not have your best interest in heart, but also to believe that love is the key that will unlock the person that they are dealing with. And I'll give you a good example. If you are a person that's dealing with someone who is narcissistic or has tendencies that are very negative, such as a master manipulator, what can potentially happen is if you are dealing with one of the ones that I was discussing in the previous tapes, ones that are particularly malevolent and had an upbringing very different than the empath. We're talking about ones that were spoiled, privileged, got everything that they wanted, and now feel like people are toys that they can manipulate and actually enjoy when other people are not feeling good or not feeling well because they like the control. If the empath is operating with the mindset of they just need love, they've just been through a lot, they may believe that their love can change the narcissistic person or manipulator, depending on what type we're dealing with. This can be really, really risky. Unfortunately, if it is a master manipulator, they will play right into it. So they will actually allow the empath to believe that they came from one type of a home, one type of a background, and they didn't. A lot of times this can be shocking to the empath when you meet the family that the person who is, let's just call him a master manipulator, said was so terrible, and the family, it turns out, pay for their school, pay for their college education, gives them a lavish apartment to live in, loves them, adores them, and they are the golden child of that family. And you're like, but wait a minute, I thought you said you went through this, you went through that, and they'll start changing up the story in real time to make it fit what the empath may believe and accept. Overall, just know that your love will not change a person that is narcissistic or a master manipulator. Now, I am a sociologist. I did graduate from one of the top schools in the country, sociology. I also have 4 other related degrees in addition to that degree in behavioral science, etc. But I'm speaking from my opinions and observations through independent study and through what I've experienced over the years. I want to help you by giving you this information to save you some time and definitely save you heartache. In my personal experience, I have noticed that a lot of people who have narcissistic traits, people that are manipulators, or people that enjoy draining other people, in those cases, many of them come from backgrounds where they were enabled, where they were allowed to do whatever they wanted to do, and they learned quickly from the time they were very young that they could manipulate, that they could be corrupt, that they could be mean, and it was okay. If you ever watch like the movie Mean Girls and Cruel Intentions, and there's so many great movies that kind of allude to this behavior, where essentially it's that weird line where privilege and dark traits sort of cross. I was just listening to stories about royalty from hundreds of years ago, and there was the same thing where there was a cross between privilege and being allowed to manipulate and to dictate other people's lives and learning they could get away with it and it was okay. And it led to them getting into a behavior where they actually enjoyed making other people feel pain in order to assert the idea that they were in control and that they have power over people. And what terrifies these people most is the feeling that they do not have control over other people and their emotions. I have seen certain manipulators actually go through and make up stories that they think will resonate with empaths in order to gain that connection. The empath thinks that they're dealing with another empath and they're pouring their heart out to this person. They're connecting with this person. They think that the person they're dealing with had a difficult background, didn't really feel love, and that's the reason why they are the way they are. And then they find out it's a completely different story. They find out that they are dealing with a golden child. And oftentimes this isn't figured out until you actually spend time with their families, or you just start doing a little bit more research and learning more about them. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Your love is not going to be the key that unlocks them and turns them into this perfect person, this beautiful person who is healed. Unfortunately, they see it as a tool that they will use to manipulate you. Like, this person loves me so I can get away with this. This person loves me so I can get away with that. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to leave me. That's more so how they see it. They are not appreciative of it. And even when they lose you, they may want to get you back, but it's only to show that they can assert control over you. It's not because they actually care about you and want to be with you in a positive and healthy way. That's why it's always advised, if you've dealt with somebody like this, you have to walk away. What is healing in this is if you've dealt with somebody like this, you have a resilience that no amount of money can buy. You have strength and confidence in you, because being able to love someone like that and being able to have that type of belief in the humanity in other people can be a really positive thing. But the resilience that you have likely gained from dealing with a toxic relationship in that manner is really powerful, but don't allow it to make you bitter or jaded or negative. The great part about these people is that you were able to overcome it, and that you were able to walk away from it, and that you were able to show that you could love and also maintain control of the situation. How you maintain control of the situation was by walking away. And the only thing that can humble the golden children is by saying no to them. And the way that you do that is by walking away and not allowing them to have control. Control is what they want. They want control and power over other people. They want to reinforce their identity that they are a master manipulator, that they can do all of these things. By you walking away and denying them access, that is the thing that challenges their very perception on who they are and what's going on. It's super powerful, and when you do it, it's not only a benefit to that person and to yourself, but also to potentially future people. Modern society in some ways has gotten really strange. There has been an increase in misogyny, unfortunately, and because of the economy being the way that it is, at times a little bit shaky, you now have men who don't have the financial disposition that they want to be in. On top of that, you have a lot more consumption of entertainment, maybe excessive spending when it comes to eating out, not having the practical nature of the generations before them. And so as a result, you have a large group of people who maybe have entitlement, but don't necessarily do what it takes in order to obtain higher levels. This problem has been huge, where there are essentially a lot of men, and of course this can happen vice versa, but they actually end up getting jealous or resentful of women who are doing well in their lives. Women that have a job, or women that have the ability to get money or earn wealth, women that are educated. This creates a very unfortunate issue where some of these men will actually enter into these females' lives in order to try to humble them. Or even worse, enter into the women's lives to get an attachment to that woman so they have an option of security down the line. There are a large group of men that treat and see women as objects. They don't see her as a thinking, feeling being with intellectual capacity, with the ability to have emotions, thoughts, feelings, and they don't care. They see her as an object. This could be because of so many reasons, but it's really crucial to protect yourself from these people, because many times they are actually jealous of the women that they get with. Or even worse, they will get with the woman to try to humble her or get an attachment to her. So if you're a woman that, let's say, has a good job or the ability to get money, you're educated, anything like that, or you're just very focused on your career, your business, whatever it is that you do. If you're someone who is self-sustaining, happy, be careful of men who are trying to get into a relationship with you for the purposes of trying to prove something to someone else. I have heard stories about men even placing bets to prove that they can knock this one down, that they can get this one. It's very disturbing, and it's definitely something to be aware of. There have even been stories coming out recently of men trying to get a woman impregnated so they can get an attachment to her, so they can come in and out of her life and have access to her whenever they feel like, or so they can have a place to stay with the woman, because they know that if they're not around and she wants to take care of the child, she's going to have a secure home, her bills paid, and they have a place that they can come in and out of when they feel like it. It is crazy that we're in times where we even have to have this conversation, but unfortunately, there are people out there like this right now. Not uncommon if the person happens to also be a narcissist or a manipulator, something along those lines. They will even try to cause trauma in the woman's life, specifically to where she'll be unable to move on from them emotionally. That way, they can see her either not succeed or be able to have a chance to get back with her. Essentially, crabs in the barrel or crabs in a bucket syndrome, but intensified. Unfortunately, there are men that see intimacy as something to use against the woman. They feel like if they can get her to have an attachment to them, if they can get her to fall in love with them, they can use that to control and manipulate her or to pull the strings. They also develop a whole set of thought processes in their head to justify their atrocious behavior. So they may have thought processes that are very misogynistic or sexist, or view a woman in a way as an object. So when they see her working, being financially independent, taking care of herself, not needing a man for emotional validation or for any type of validation, they see that as a threat. As a result, will create a storyline in their head to justify their behavior. Unfortunately, this is not uncommon if a woman has been with someone that was a narcissist before or a manipulator, and she talks about being on a healing journey or recovering after a loss. Sometimes that draws these types of guys in like a magnet, and they become very attracted to that woman because they see her as this is somebody who they can potentially target. So even though if you have dealt with a person like this, it is an extreme form of resilience that you are able to overcome them. It's also really crucial to take caution as far as who you let in the future, because with the economy also being the way that it is, I have been seeing at least an increase of men like this as opposed to a decrease. Of course, this works the other way, and there are females that do this to males as well. But for this particular example, I'm talking about something that a lot of women have experienced. But this can go for anybody. And I have to say this is not a medical diagnostic or anything like this. I'm sharing with you what I've learned through observation, through independent studies, because I do not want to see you go through unnecessary pain or accidentally get with the wrong person who doesn't have your best intentions at heart. As you already know, not everybody is super nice, and people have gotten a little bit more clever with how to manipulate and conceal their real intentions. So it's really important to stay mindful and be careful. There are guys out here right now that see it as a game and see it as something fun to get a woman knocked down. They want to see her crash out. They want to see her emotional. They want to see her lose her looks or lose her ability to self-sustain. They want to see her in a position where she is very unhappy, and they get enjoyment from that, and they want to laugh at it. Don't give them what they want, of course. And the way you don't give them what they want is be cautious about who you trust. Especially in this day and age, be cautious about who you trust and who you let in. It's not, unfortunately, like it was years back, or maybe you could relax your guard a little bit more. Things have become more sophisticated, and unfortunately, you have people that are doing things they know they're not supposed to be doing in order to try to get people to fall off of things that are positive and healthy for themselves. I hope you have an awesome, cool, fun, amazing rest of the day. If you like this video, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe. Also, check out my members only videos where we're going to be going deeper into these topics. And until next time, I hope you have an awesome, great day. Bye-bye.